Thought I'd take you outside today. It's maybe 40 something. They had originally said today was going to be in the 70s, and it's not. If you can hear my voice, I'm still not over this head cold. I think it's 3 weeks now I've had it. And I'll show you one of these guys up there. The seagulls, contrary to popular belief, don't leave during the winter. There's several of them that stay, especially when the lake doesn't freeze, or inlets of water where boats are docked or whatever, those type of inlets. They tend to stay there, and they find food throughout the year. So seeing the seagulls isn't the arrival of spring, because I've seen them pretty much almost all winter long. But what I thought I'd do today was show you. I took a walk outside. This morning I heard a robin, and I ran to get the camera, and he was gone by the time I came back out. He wasn't on the ground. I heard him up in the tree. And he was over there somewhere, which is usually the first place I see robins, is this field over here, because the sun hits it early in the morning and warms it up, because the ground is kind of frozen still. And as soon as it starts to warm up where they can get their worms, that field's going to be just full of robins. Like I said, there could be one in the tree right now. I heard him this morning. I could see lots of birds flying around over there, but he was in the tree this morning hollering, and I didn't get the camera fast enough, so now I don't know where he went. But anyway, with the arrival of this good weather is a lot of outside yard work to be done. So I thought I'd show you some of the things that needs to be done. This is a rose bed. They're all tea roses, I think you call them, hybrid tea roses. They're small, and I gotta cut them back more. And I put leaves in there on purpose to try to keep them warm over the winter, which turned out to be a very mild winter. In fact, we broke records. Okay, this is kind of funny. That's a little hyacinth trying to come up right there. And somewhere in here I had an Easter lily that was there for years, and I dug it up and put it out in the front yard. This needs to all get cleaned out. All this brush needs to get cut back for all the little shoots that are starting to come up, for all the new plants. This is my poor little burning bush. This flower bed is in sad shape. I haven't touched it at all, unlike the others, and I have already done work on the other ones. Here's another burning bush. This is usually bearded irises, miniature irises. There's Casablanca lilies, stargazer lilies in here. This all needs to get cleaned out. As you can see, let me get out of the light here. That's the bearded irises coming up. This flower bed, I already worked on it earlier. There was a couple of weeks ago, there was a fairly nice day, and I came out here and started pulling the brush out of it. These are several different kind of narcissus, paper whites, poeticus. What else is I putting here? There's daffodils, there's tulips, and there's supposed to be an entire row in the back there of gladiolas. But I'll show you something. And this is why I hate squirrels. And if you see them, those are bulbs in the ground here everywhere that they have dug up, and they ate the bulbs. And this right here is a pile of rabbit poop. But yeah, I find it all the time. They're over here and they dig up the bulbs and eat them. So I don't know what I'm going to have for gladiolas. Each year it gets worse and worse. This is another flower bed that I've been working on, cutting back all the brush out of it. There were mums that you can see here. I cut they usually can just snap right off, but sometimes the branches are so thick on them I have to come out with the clippers and clip them. I need to get all the brush out of there. This is the one I was just working on, pulling out all the old foliage from the mums. And then these are all narcissus and tulips, tons of tulips, as you can see, getting ready to come up. And then coming around here, more roses. More roses right there. And then a bunch of this, which I wish we had smell-o-vision. This is chives, wild onions. Smells delicious. I've actually cooked with them before, brought them in the house, but they stand out really easily from the rest of the grass. You can see how bright green they are. And the smell when I'm mowing the lawn and I hit them is just amazing. This is my lilac. It hasn't been trimmed. The trimming is usually done in March, and it's March. So on my next day off, I'm going to have to come out here and do some trimming. You can see it's already got buds on it. And then here's another lilac. This one's the French, it's called French Hybrid. And you can see I got a lot of trimming to do on this. And it also is budding. And I also have a pear tree and an apple tree that I should have trimmed before this, because you're supposed to trim them when it's cold. But this year we had an unusual winter, and didn't get as cold as it was going to be, or expected to be. We didn't get the snow. I saw a report on the news last night that said we typically get 80 plus inches of snow, and we only got 40 something, so half of what they said we were going to get. And here's the garden. This is what it looks like before I tear it all apart. And normally what happens is I break down all the brush that's in there, rake it all up, burn it in the fire pit, and then I pull up all the plastic. I pull up all the rods, I put the plastic in, I fold it up, set it to the side, put all the rods to the side, and then my brother-in-law comes along with a rototiller attachment on his lawnmower, and he rototills it. Here's the, this is a dwarf pear tree. It's covered in buds. It doesn't look like there's that much. There's a few trimming I'm going to have to do to it. You're supposed to cut out, like this one, there's a branch coming across, and you want it to be open so the sun can get in evenly. And any of those crisscrossing branches, you want to cut out of there. Here's another crisscross branch. But and then over here is my other tree. This is a dwarf apple, and I believe it's a Macintosh. Last year we got over 3 bushels of apples off this tree, and I've had this tree for about 20 years over here. It's older than that, but I've had it for about 20. I relocated it. It used to be over there, and I had my brother-in-law put it over here for me, and that was probably 20 years ago that he did it. And I've trimmed it faithfully, and we had maybe one apple one year, and the other years it bloomed but no apples. And then last year all of a sudden it went crazy, and we got over 3 bushels. There's the seagulls again. They just always look pretty, that white against the blue background of the sky. And my son was out here with the grandkids, and we all picked apples, and he made a bunch of apple pies. He made applesauce. He canned a bunch of jars of applesauce, so it was a really fun day. And of course the kids ate tons of apples. And I didn't trim this at all, and it certainly needs it because these branches are way too tall. So I might have to get my son out here and have him get up on the ladder for me to cut those branches down, because it shouldn't be that tall. They're way too tall. And I think maybe I'll have him do it for me. So yeah, this needs to be all cut back. I'll show you something. As long as the sun's good out here. This pattern, if you've never seen it, this is from woodpeckers, and that's them pecking on the wood, eating bugs, and it leaves this cool pattern. So in a way they're helping me, I guess you could say, because they're ridding the tree of the bugs. But there's quite a lot of buds on the apple tree, so I'm wondering if we're going to get another bumper crop again. But yeah, this needs to be trimmed up in the worst way, poor thing. So I've got a lot of work to do. All I did today was start working on one of the flower beds, and just even over there out by the front gate, my mailbox, and see if this will zoom in here. Come on. Back here by the garden, I wanted to show you something. That tarp that we put down, it's garden tarp, so it's breathable, and the sun can get it's supposed to block out the sun from letting the weeds grow, but of course the weeds do grow. It's very worn out and old. It shreds very easily now because it's very old. Last year we'll probably have it down. Anyway, on the edges over here, and I'm hoping there's nothing there right this minute, rabbits have found out that they can hide their babies in there. And they'll dig the flap up and they'll put their babies in there. Now, here's a spot. Let me show you. You see how that dirt's all fresh right there in that hole? Or all the other holes seem to have like debris in them or something. That one has nothing in it. And then, of course, behind it, hopefully I won't scare any of them if they're in there. But I have found baby rabbits under here. I've been mowing the yard and they'll come flying out of there because there's just enough of a gap where they fit under there. And they found out, the mother rabbits have found out that they can get in under this tarp and hide their babies in there. But I don't see anybody popping out. Normally by now, if the rabbits were here, they would have jumped out and ran. So maybe this year they didn't do it. And then this all has to get cleaned up where my brother-in-law plowed and he pushed the snow and the ice, and it happens every year. And then we just go through and we try to dig all the clumps of grass from the mounds that they're in and put them back down like this and then roll it out. There's some over there. I usually come out with a shovel and a rake, and I get them all, try to get it all back to where it came from, fill these spots back in so it can be all fixed and made smooth again. But there's a lilac tree out here by my gate too that needs to be all trimmed back. It's right there above the sign, or behind the sign rather. That's a lilac tree that's got to get done. But and then of course the flood debris, and I'll take you over and show you what it looks like now that you can see it without. Now this past winter I did a video showing this pond flooding and how the water came up and over those steel girders and came into the yard and dropped all this debris. I actually had there's a video somewhere on my page where it shows the water coming and then receding, and as you can see now, hopefully you can anyway, this marks the level of where the water was. This line of leaves shows you how far the water came, and then when it goes back out, it just drops all this debris. It's a lot. In fact, that mountain back there is where my brother-in-law was just pushing it out of the driveway with the backhoe, and he made that mountain. That's a pretty big mountain full of debris already, and this is going to be, once this is all pushed together, it's going to be probably twice the size of that one. It's hard to tell how much is here, but it's a lot. And these are some very large pieces of wood. In fact, there's a tree over here I'll show you. But this stuff is it's deceptive. When you're walking along looking at it, it's very deep, and there's quite a bit of it here. And right now it's wet, so it's still heavy, and when you try to rake it, you just break your rake. But you see how clean the lawn looks right over here? That's because the water came and pushed all this stuff over here and dropped it. And so let's go over here so I can show you the damage that the creek did with all the flooding we had. Now that's a large tree section right there. This is very deep debris. This is a piece of drainage tile from somewhere that floated up. Here's another section of a tree. And then here's the inlet. And this is the jam, part of the jam. And you can see there's a tree right here, two of them side by side. Across the street over there is the other part of this drainage ditch. And you can see that's almost all the way up to the top because it's plugged. And everybody says, when's the town going to do something? I said, well, they drive by every day and they can see what I can see, which is all this debris sitting here that came in. The wind brought it into the inlet right here, and it all got jammed right here. And you can barely see it. I'll take you over here. That's the drain right there. That's about 4 inches or 4 feet in diameter. It's a very large drain. So it's plugged. You can see it's all standing still right here. There's quite a bit of debris in here. A whole bunch of that bubble pop stuff sitting over there. And lots of trees. And what they usually do is they get a truck and they come over here with the backhoe and they scoop all this stuff out and they put it in the dump truck and they take it away. And they haven't done that in a very long time. Hence what you see now. This is one of the steel girders that the water knocked over. It's supposed to be right here, connected to that one coming this way. But the debris in the water knocked it off and sent it over here. And my brother-in-law put in stakes to try to keep these other ones from getting washed away. And so there they are. They were over here in the middle of the yard after the first flood. They were over here, and he came over and got them all picked up, put them back, and he put them in with the stakes. But this is not supposed to look like this. This is actually really high right now. This is usually dirt, sand. They actually, at one point, this guy had made a road coming across here to his property, and you can see he's been loading up the sand over there. I'll show you a little. He's made like a berm, but the water is in all the way over to here, which is something I've not seen before. It's usually, this is usually sand, and the water is pushed up. Sometimes what that means is down at the this goes around a curve and then out to the lake, and sometimes they close that end off, which prevents the water from going back out, which is probably what happened. But anyway, they need to come here and dig this all out so the water can ebb and flow like it should. All right, so that's enough of the crap out in the air. Thought I'd show you what I've been, the other projects real quick. The table I've been working on, it's all sanded. All the, somebody had written all over it with pen and they had gouged it, so it's all been sanded. And I put on a layer of this stuff, and dries for about 24 hours. And then I came out and I did a sanding, light sanding, and I put another layer on and another light sanding, and it's looking pretty good. So that one is just about done. This project here is something that's been in my mind. I've been tossing around after watching other videos. But I got this, these are those electrician's boxes. And they're very heavy. But once you punch them all out, I'm sure that is going to make them more feasible to use. But my concept is that would be a bottom. And to screw holes that these sides would hook on up. Well, this one's already marked, so you can see where I put the markings for the holes. And then I was thinking, because I removed the screws out of there, I didn't do it on this one yet, but just drill holes there, put these little screws back in, and the sides would slide down and attach on there. And I've got 4 of these, 4 sides, and in fact, one of the sides I already drew a square that I wanted. That's going to be where you feed the wood in. And of course this would be at the end, it'll be up here, this is going to be the top. And of course all the holes will be punched out for airflow. But this is something I was tossing out in my mind. I've been watching other people's videos, and that's a project that I'm going to work on. It's heavy, heavier than I thought it was going to be, so I have to see if my Dremel tool will cut this. I know I can drill it, so that's not the problem. So there's this project that's waiting for me to do it. This has got to get finished. The grill's got to get finished. I bought the paint for it at Walmart the other day. It's grill stove paint, black. I just need to get it all cleaned up really good before I paint it. Actually was looking at my fishing stuff because fishing time is here. And my fishing license is good until May 1st. So I'm pretty happy about that. I thought it expired in April, but no, I got it till May 1st. So this being March 7th or 8th, whatever today's date is, I've got all of March and all of April to fish yet. So I'm pretty happy about that. So then of course over there is my soap project sitting there underneath the paper towel. And let's go in the house and I'll show you the last thing I got. This is my attempt at making a minion. And one of the reasons it's so hard is, first of all, there's no video to watch and see how to carve it. Like when I did the bear, there was actually several videos on how to carve a bear. The minion, I just looked at a picture of a minion on the internet and decided I was going to make the tall, long-headed minion as opposed to the short, squatty ones. And he's coming along. I don't know if he's showing up really good. There he is. I got to trim off the bottom of his feet because that's too much wood. That's why I marked it with the line. I got to get the details of his hands in his pockets and what his overalls look like. His mouth isn't on there yet. I got to fix up his goggles because those aren't carved out yet. But for some reason it reminds me of Homer Simpson. And so I'm still working on him. Still working on the bulldog. Here's Trixie. Say hi. Hi, everybody. So that's it. That's a long enough video. I'll have to do some editing because I'm sure it's way too long. But that's what happens where I live when the spring comes. There's tons of stuff to do, and my goal every year is to try to get it done early so I have plenty of time to just sit around, relax, and enjoy the good weather. In my case, it's a question of being able to sit out in the backyard, smell the roses, so to speak, the flowers, and just enjoy the weather. I'm hoping to have the kids come up and be able to have some fun in the yard, go to the beach, whatever. But this all starts now. Once the good weather hits, there's so much cleaning to do, so much chores to get done, and it's all beginning with the arrival of the good weather, which is imminent. So thanks for watching. Why don't you put up a video showing me what it's like at your house and what you do when spring comes. I'd like to see that. Here's a project that I'm going to show you. I was actually going to do a video on it, but I decided against it because there's a million videos already. I took all my old bars of soap, and I had a bunch because I'm a soap addict, and I get soap from everywhere. I ordered it online. I have soap from friends. I get soap for gifts, and I had quite a large container full of discarded bars of soap, discarded for a bunch of reasons. Either they didn't lather up to my particular liking, the fragrance wasn't as good as I had hoped when I bought it, for whatever reason. And so anyway, I had that large container, and what I did was I took all the bars of soap, or pieces of bars of soap, and I cut them into shavings, and I had I would say probably a 2-quart container full of soap shavings, and I then put them on a double boiler on top of the stove, and I melted them down. Of course, you have to add water, and I added just probably a tablespoon, if even that, of extra virgin olive oil. And it kind of surprised me. It got fluffy and increased in volume while it was melting rather than melt and settle down. So I ended up with quite a lot more of it than I thought I had. But in any case, once it was all melted, it was the consistency of heavy whipping cream, I would kind of say, although much denser because it's soap. But that's what it kind of reminded me of. I also added, I had some essential oil. I had lavender rosemary, and I added that to it. And I had a Crystal Light drink mix tube, and a couple little storage containers, and a little fruit cup plastic container left over from something. So I ended up filling all those containers with the soap. I just scooped it out and pushed it into the containers, and I ended up, once they were all full, I smacked them on the countertop to try to remove air bubbles as best I could, and then I put them in the freezer overnight. The next day, I got them all out of their containers. They came out a lot easier than I thought they would. And by the way, I had sprayed the containers really lightly with some cooking oil, and they slid right out of the containers after a couple of whacks. And then I sliced them. So these ones, as you can see, they're all nice and round. They were in a tube. Here's one of the ones that was in a little dish. It was a fruit cup. So it looks like that. These ones were a little storage container, like a Glad storage container. And when I took them out, I just cut them in half. So anyway, they've been in the garage now for, 2 days. They're on a piece of paper, and I put them in the garage because I wanted them in a cool, dry place. They're supposed to dry for anywhere 6 to 9 weeks, I guess. It's all different, depends on what site you're looking at when you read about homemade soap. Although this isn't really homemade soap, it's like reclaimed soap. And in any case, it's supposed to dry for quite some time. And one of the things it says to do is every so often flip them over. And it also said to cover them with something so they don't get dust and dirt on them. And I thought that was a good idea. Nobody wants dirty soap. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip them all over to their other side and then cover them up and leave them alone again for another week or so, and I'll come out and flip them again.